Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I am joined here, as always, by the man who is the Super Bowl MVP in all of our hearts. Kyle, how are you doing?
Doing good. Pretty solid week so far, I gotta say. Getting through the weekend. Been snowed in for a few days, so that was fun. How's it going with you?
Oh, how's getting snowed in like?
Well, I mean, when I say snowed in Texas, that's like 3 inches of snow. Shuts
Okay.
down the place, so it's not like I'm like actually like can't get out of my house. It was pretty fun though. Like the dogs love it, so take them out. They run around, and the best thing about living in North Texas is like snow is like you don't like live in winter. You get like 2 days of winter, and after 2 days of winter, then I feel I'm like done with it after that. But then I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, gotcha. See, I like Florida because there's no winter. Winter does
Fair
not
enough.
exist. I went yesterday. I swam with manatees yesterday, Kyle.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was fun. And then I had gator. I had fried gator. So I had a
Is that your
entertaining
first?
day.
Is that your first fried gator experience?
It is, which is weird because I've born and raised in Florida. You think I would have had fried? Do you think I would have had gator before then?
Yeah, I don't know. I've had it before, but it's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I recommend it if anyone has an opportunity. Anyways, we are not here to talk about fried gator. We are here to talk about MVP for the Super Bowl. So we're not breaking down the entire Super Bowl just yet. We will be doing that on Wednesday. We're saving it to the last minute to do it then. But I think we have kind of an entertaining show that sort of you'll start to hear some of our thoughts on how the Super Bowl is going to go down. And we did this last year, and it was a lot of fun. Well, we're going to do a draft-style pick-em for who we believe is going to be Super Bowl MVP. I believe the way we did it last year was that one of us got to pick first overall. The next person got to pick second and third. So it starts off like a snake draft, but then we went just back and forth. So basically, one person gets to pick the quarterback first, but then the other person gets to pick basically every other spot ahead of the next guy. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay. I was going to take a drink of water. Yes. All right. Yeah. But so in doing that, I figured we had to figure out a way to determine who gets to pick that. And I figured that I'll ask you a trivia question, Kyle. And if you can answer the trivia question correctly, then you get to choose if you want to go first or if you want to go second and third. And if you get it incorrectly, then obviously I'll get the choice. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So the trivia question, and I think this one you can probably get, but I thought it'd be interesting. I know you're not great with Super Bowl numbers. Who was the MVP of Super Bowl 50?
Super Bowl 50. So I believe 51 was Falcons Patriots. So the year before that was
going through it.
Yeah, the year before that was, oh my gosh. Was that
We're gonna do it?
But that's gonna be Von Miller, right?
Yes, Von Miller, the Super Bowl MVP of that one, could be Super Bowl MVP again. So you will get the selection. Do you want to go first overall, or do you want to go second and third overall?
I'll take first. I'm okay with first.
Okay.
So first overall pick. I did this a little bit differently. I could have easily looked at this and said, okay, the quarterback who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, I'll pick first overall. Now, I haven't done my full research on this yet, so I'm not picking based on who I think is going to win the game. Just early indications on early glance of what I'm looking at this game. The way I look at it is if one of these teams wins the game, which quarterback basically needs to play better? And I think that the Bengals need Joe Burrow to play better to win this game. So I'm taking Joe Burrow, number one overall. I think there's more avenues for the Rams basically to win if Matthew Stafford isn't at his best. But I think like Joe Burrow needs to have a good game for Cincinnati to win. So I will take Joe Burrow one. Feel good about it. He's been lights out this playoffs too.
Yeah, this makes sense to me. I think this is the correct pick. This is also what I had number one because it feels like if the Bengals win, it's hard to picture a scenario, and we'll talk about scenarios, but the Bengals win, there's a very good chance the Bengals are the team or Joe Burrow is the guy who gets the Super Bowl MVP. Also, super chat by DJ Cook. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, if the Bengals win, it feels like Joe Burrow has a very high. It's hard to imagine a scenario where, and again, we'll imagine them, but there's not a lot of scenarios where the Bengals win and Joe Burrow isn't MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Whereas, I could see like the Rams. I mean, I think both of these defenses are pretty good, and I could see both having good games. But yeah, I mean, to me, it just seems like keeping up with the Rams, Cincinnati's going to have to get some big plays, and that means Burrow's going to have it because also I think they're going to have a really tough time running the football on this Rams defensive line, which I think is just going to add to it.
Yeah, although the flip side is, again, I'm with you. I have not made my pick yet, but the Rams are the betting favorites, so you could be picking a player who isn't on the team that is the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I had the same pick. Let's move on. So number 2, obvious selection here, Matthew Stafford, right? I mean, you got to go with the, and also, I should mention, I put all the betting lines on this. Gamble at your own risk. We are not experts when it comes to gambling. This is just our silly little podcast. But Matthew Stafford here, because again, Super Bowl MVP tends to go to the quarterback on the winning team. So first quarterback off the board, kind of a no-brainer here at number 2.
Yeah. No, I think that makes perfect sense. Obviously, the quarterbacks are going to go top 2 in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford's been good this postseason. He's been good this season. And I mean, this team loves to throw the ball too. And I think this is another, I mean, even on this side, it's like, I don't know how much success the Rams are going to have running the ball in this game, looking at Cincinnati's defensive line. So I think both of these quarterbacks are going to have to play well for their team to win. That sounds cliche. It probably is. But at the same time, I do feel like it's true. And Matthew Stafford has to come up big.
Right. Well, it's a quarterback sport at the end of the day, quarterback-driven league at the end of the day. I do feel like, and this is why Burrow's a good number 1 pick, I feel like there's scenarios I can think of a lot easier of where Stafford doesn't have a great day, but the Rams still win.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like that their defense is just like Cincinnati's defense is good. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but it does feel like that the Rams defense is more capable of dominating a game, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that they have more stars, which we'll get into as well. So they have more guys who could steal it. And let's just go there. Number 3, this might be our first surprise here because it's not, the betting odds don't have it this side. But give me Aaron Donald here, plus 1,700 to win the Super Bowl MVP. I kind of like those odds. I mean, to me, the logic is pretty simple. Aaron Donald, has a big star attached to his name. If he can get 2 sacks in this one, that could be what he needs to get the MVP. And I also think that it's not out of the question. I know 2 sacks seems like a lot for an interior defensive lineman, but when you factor in who he's going up against, it doesn't feel like as big of a deal with the weakness that is the Bengals' interior defensive line, specifically right guard, and how they'll probably attack that.
Yeah. This makes sense. I did have him 5 just because I was looking at all the guys, but at the same time, like, I completely understand. He, like you said, he is a star. He has been lights out this season. I mean, he's one of the best defensive players ever. And also just adding to the fact is that, I mean, like the Cincinnati's going to have a really tough time with him. I'm really interested to see how they try and handle this Los Angeles defensive line, knowing their offensive line woes. But I think this is a good odds play too. I agree. Now, the only thing is like, we talked about stars. There might be 4 stars on this Rams defensive line, which adds to,
Sure.
He has to stand out among everybody else on the defensive line.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is, so, and again, in our preview, we'll kind of get more into it. But the Bengals still don't know who their starting guard is. They had Jackson Carman and Hakeem Adeniji split time in the AFC Championship game. Kyle, these are incredible stats to throw out at you. So their PFF pass blocking grade, which is a scale from 0 to 100, Hakeem Adeniji had a grade of 1.8, which is unbelievably bad. Not to be outdone, Jackson Carman, a grade of 0.1. So the right guard is an issue there for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that definitely could be a way where you could see Aaron Donald thrive. The only issue I think with this would be, well, what if Aaron Donald just gets double teamed at every play, which kind of is what happens anyways. You could start to see some other guys be the ones who are actually making the plays, even though the threat of Donald might be making more happen.
Yeah, I mean, Floyd and Miller are both perfectly capable of making big plays on the defensive line, but at the same time, the attention's going to be on Donald. And they, Cincinnati has the same numbers that we have. So I think that there's going to be plenty of attention given to him, It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes out. To answer a new Masters 60 mime, is it a hot take to say 80 is the best defensive player of the all time? I don't think it's a hot take, but at the same time, when you're saying you're the best ever, it's definitely controversial.
It's a warm take. I mean, Lawrence Taylor won an MVP, right? So it's
Yeah,
definitely a hot take.
that's fair.
But I
And
mean, he's in the conversation.
yeah, I mean, those two, Reggie White, those guys are going to be in the conversation
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
It is interesting, but yeah, I mean, Donald makes perfect sense at number 3. I had him 5th, but I was just looking at the offense side of the ball first.
Interesting. I'm interested in seeing who you have. So go ahead. I think I know where you're going here. Number 4, where are you going?
The guy who I called the best receiver in football last week,
Mhm.
20 catches, 325 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's the last 2 weeks for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
There's a good chance he might see some Eli Apple in this game. I think he's going to win that matchup. I think Cooper Kupp has a chance to dominate this game. I'm going with Cooper Kupp with the 4th pick. I mean, there's nothing else to say about this guy. It doesn't matter if you double team him, single team him, zone, man. He beats everything. He beats everything off the line of scrimmage. He's an amazing route runner. He's got great hands. He just does everything really well. And I think that if there's anybody who's going to dominate this game that's not a quarterback, it's going to be Cooper Kupp, who could just go for another 10 catch, 200-yard day, basically. I got Kupp here at number 4, and I feel really good about that.
Yeah, I don't hate this pick either. I think that this makes sense. Again, he was number 4 on my list. So right now, my list has been exactly the way we picked it. And I think, for Cooper Kupp, one interesting thing, which again, we're going to get into once we talk about our preview show, is the way Cooper Kupp, he does do better against man than he does against zone. Now, he's still great against zone. He's great against everything. He's a great wide receiver, but it does seem like man coverage is really where he thrives. You see his stats go from really good against zone to like godly against man. And so that's kind of maybe the one thing where the Bengals, while they did play some man at the end of the game against Kansas City, tend to play more of a zone coverage. And that's maybe where I could see maybe Cooper Kupp getting some attention taken away from him and maybe some other guys stepping up and being the ones who make the plays.
That's certainly possible, and it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the early success of this defense has, because they didn't have success early on against KC and kind of switched up their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they struggle early on again in this game and they go man, do they still have the same success that they did against Kansas City's offense in the second half of that game? I'm not entirely sure about that. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, I mean, I think the one thing for Cooper Kupp is that, along with just the incredible numbers he's put up this year, we saw time and time again in big games, Stafford's basically targeting him no matter what on third downs, on big plays. If there's a lot of big situations here, which there typically is in the Super Bowl, he's going to go to Cooper Kupp a lot, I think. And I think, if Cooper Kupp has, 16, 17 targets in this game, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that he's going to, be that security blanket.
Yeah, I think I think that makes sense. I'm gonna go to my next pick now because it's a similar thing. I'm also picking a Rams wide receiver here. Give me OBJ here. Give me Odell Beckham Jr. Because, of course, my logic behind this is Cooper Kupp gets the extra attention. We saw Odell with an 100-yard receiving day against the Rams. Could we see something like that happen again? And I also think one X factor with picking the Super Bowl MVP, if it's going to be a wide receiver, it's rare to be a wide receiver, right? Because typically if a wide receiver has a good day, that means the quarterback has a good day, meaning that the quarterback gets the MVP. But I could see a scenario, and I think kind of why we've seen multiple Rams receivers now go off the board before a Bengals receiver go off the board. It doesn't seem that crazy for Matt Stafford to throw like 2 interceptions, but still get like 350 yards. And then like Odell can get like 150 of them and get the MVP.
And the narrative's kind of built for Odell, who was 6th on my list, right? Like, basically left for dead in his career after the Cleveland scenario. Everything's going wrong for him. Then all of a sudden, he's lighting it up in Los Angeles. He has a great playoff game, helping them get to the Super Bowl. And then he could just have a monster game in this game as that number 2 guy. Because, there's going to be a lot of attention put to Cooper Kupp. Whether it succeeds or not is the question. But there is a chance that Odell gets some favorable matchups here. Maybe he's able to take advantage of them, have a huge game in this one. And like you said, if he has that sort of 150-yard game, all of a sudden he could be the guy who's Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that with Odell, another thing going in his favor is the name brand, and I think that that's what we're going to talk about with a few of these guys too, and that's kind of why we're going to start to see this. I think some star players really go out the board early because people just notice them more. Like you notice Odell Beckham Jr., and that's kind of what you have to do. Is this. The selection isn't a week from after the game. It's immediately after the game. So it's what you notice live happening. Odell's a guy you notice live. So that could also be a factor, be a contributor in him potentially winning it.
Absolutely agree. That's a good pick. You ready to move on?
Sure. We can move on. Number 6, where are you going?
All right. So I got Joe Burrow. I got Cooper Kupp. I feel really good about this draft so far because number 6, I'm getting Jamar Chase. I mean, this guy's been everything Cincinnati's wanted and then some with the first round pick this year, right? I mean, this guy's been lights out. He's been lights out in the playoffs. Every time they need a big reception, they're going to him. You know, you could put one guy on him on the sideline. He'll go up and get the catch. He's got a really tough matchup because I think he's going to see a lot of Ramsey. You know, you even saw it late in that game with the last game for Los Angeles against oh my gosh, who did it? San Francisco. Ramsey started moving around the field and, you know, just saying, I'm covering this guy. You know, he's going to see a lot of Ramsey in this game, but obviously he's a superstar. So I feel comfortable about him still having a big game. I got Chase here. I feel good about that.
Yeah, I had him a couple spots lower. Like, listen, he's a great player. There's definitely a very real chance this could work out for him. Couple of things I think standing in the way of that. The first of which is obviously, as you mentioned, Jalen Ramsey. Who is a great corner who can, you know, cover the best of them. Jalen Ramsey, I feel like gets a lot of criticism. I think a lot of it tends to be his personality more so than his play on the field because his play on the field is very good. And so that's going to be an aspect. Also, the Rams like to play a lot of this quarters coverage, which means that you have a safety help on basically all plays. The way where Jamar Chase can really beat you is over the top. Or in screens, which again, if Ramsey's on him, Ramsey's one of the best at blowing up screens in the league. So you have this good matchup. And I also think that another aspect is Chase is going to take a lot of double teams. If you do have that, you're going to try to hit other guys. And what's the scenario where Jamar Chase goes off and Joe Burrow doesn't also go off, which would mean that Chase is the one who gets the MVP? It might have to be one of those, you know, Kansas City games where he has 266 yards, or kind of like we said at Stafford, Burrow turns the ball over a couple times.
Yeah. And, you know, the funny thing is, as you mentioned with Ramsey, like he actually had a decent day against Mike Evans, I thought. And I didn't think the coverage was too terrible on that, you know, that last touchdown that Evans got.
Sure.
It was just a good throw. And also defending Evans is like defending a tight end. And if he gets his body between you and the ball, you're not getting the ball. So, I mean, I didn't think he had that bad of a game against Evans at all in that one. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree. But there's still this thing about Chase where right now it just seems like that there's not really an answer for him. Now, this could be the perfect matchup for him with Ramsey because Ramsey has the size to kind of, you know, get after him on the sidelines and, like you said, blow up those screenplays and tackle him really well. But at the same time, like, it's been rare that we've seen Jamar Chase stop this season or basically in his NFL career because it has been just this year. Who's to say he can't go off in this game too?
Yeah. Jalen Ramsey has given up 2 catches for over 25 yards this season. One was that Mike Evans catch that we talked about, which, in fairness, there was safety help on that play. The safety got fooled with the play concept, which turned it into a one-on-one, and that did go in Mike Evans' favor. And the other one was a similar play where he kind of just got fooled against the 49ers and took a step too far in, and Garoppolo threw it over him. That one went for, I think, like 40 yards or so. Other than that, he doesn't get beat deep too often. So that's the other aspect is for Chase to win this, it might have to be a big possession day, which, listen, he can do. Like the Titans made an effort to not let Jamar Chase beat him. He had 100 yards in that one. The Raiders made an effort to not let Jamar Chase beat him. He had 100 yards in that one. Although, again, the Brandon Faiskin thing early on, don't know what they were doing there. But, you know, he's still going to get some yards. It's not a bad pick here. But I think that there's maybe 1 or 2 better picks available, in my opinion.
All right, let's see who you got, number 7.
All right. And by the way, he was the next betting favorite, so I'm going against that. Number 7, give me, and there's logic for this, give me Joe Mixon. So here's my thought process on this one. I think there could be a lot of checkdowns in this one. Like I said, if the Rams are playing a lot of two safety deep coverages, it's going to be hard to run the football. But Mixon could break out and get one or two big plays. And also, he could be doing a big aspect in the passing game. I also think it's easier for me to picture a scenario because this way, okay, maybe the passing game doesn't do well, but maybe the Bengals defense does do well. And it's one of the situations where you can't just give it to one Bengals defender. So you end up giving it to the end up giving it to the halfback.
It's possible. He was on my list just kind of out of principle. Here's the thing. The thing I had Mixon, I still had a few guys above him too. So the thing with Mixon is, this Los Angeles defensive line's nasty. And the second thing, doesn't it feel like if Joe Mixon's the best player for the Bengals, they've lost by 20?
Well, it would be less about him being the best player and more about him having the stat line to back up and also we have a super chat, the great overlap 618 back with the super chat 1999 super chat. Abandoned ship, no one is watching, there is no penguin costume on the line, there is no TB12, football is dead, don't at me. Other than that, jackpot Joey for MVP. All right, so overlap agrees with us that Joe Burrow should be number one. But yeah, back to Joe Mixon. I get your point. I think that's fair, but I can picture again. The reality is, after like 4 picks, this is kind of almost a pointless exercise, but it's kind of more just entertaining than anything. Because I feel like I can picture a scenario where the Bengals win this game largely through checkdowns and running the football and playing good defense. And I can picture Joe Mixon. I can visualize a scenario where Joe Mixon ends the day with the most impressive stat line.
Yeah. I saw one prop that I thought was interesting. I saw something like Samaje Perine for over 50 yards all purpose and a touchdown. I kind of like that. But
yeah, I don't hate it.
We'll go over some props on Wednesday. But at the same time, I get it. I mean, Mixon's a terrific back, so I get it. I completely understand it. And he was on my list because he is the starting running back for this team. So I see a scenario where, like you said, the ball spread around, but he ends up with like 3 touchdowns because they get a bunch of these red zone drives. He finishes them off. I think that's completely possible. It's just, like you said, after the first 4 picks, it comes tough. And I see it. This is going to be a really tough game for Joe. That's the biggest thing for me. I think he's got one of the hardest matchups in this game, and I don't know how he's going to succeed.
You said for Joe Mixon or Joe Burrow?
Joe Mixon. I forgot there's 2 Joes for a second.
Right. Yeah. A couple of them. Yeah, it might be a tough day for both. Tough matchup for both Joes. But I think, again, we'll kind of get more into it. But I do think this is a defensive matchup. I think both defenses do match up pretty well here. Kyle, are you going defense here or are you sticking with offense?
I am going to go defense here. There's one guy we didn't talk about who has won a Super Bowl MVP before. As we talked about at the top of the show with the trivia question, that's Von Miller, who's been lights out in this postseason, or not lights out, but very good in this postseason. Done some really good things for this Rams defensive line, kind of revitalized himself a little bit. And speaking of star power, he's somebody people are going to pay attention to on the field because it's Von Miller and his name matters. If he has a couple big plays in this one, gets a couple sacks, forces the fumble, recovers it, maybe turns into a defensive touchdown. I think Von Miller might be a guy who can kind of sneak in and get another Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I could see this happening as well. And again, if we see a lot of one-on-one matchups where it's like, you can't block everybody here. You can't double team everyone on this defensive line. So I get it. He has the name brand. He's won a Super Bowl MVP before. So if he is getting in the backfield, if he does get a couple of sacks, and this is a defensive matchup, I don't think it's crazy to think that he could end up with it. Especially, I also feel like the past couple of years, there's been a bit of like, I know when Julian Edelman won it, people were saying, why didn't it go to a defender? Even last year, people were saying it should have gone to a defender, even though Brady was great himself, just because how good the defense played in both of those 2 games. So I could see a scenario where it's starting to bubble up a little bit. I think this is a good pick.
Would he be the first? I mean, I don't even have to look it up. I feel like this is a yes. Would he be the first defensive player to win 2 Super Bowl MVPs?
I would imagine so. I can look that up.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty crazy if he managed to do that. But, yeah, I mean, just, going off of what you said, they're going to have to put a lot of attention to this interior offensive line going against Donald. And if they're putting a lot of attention to the interior spot, Floyd and Miller are not guys you kind of want to mess with one-on-one. They definitely have a tendency to win a lot of matchups. I think he can have a big game in this one too.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is I think it makes sense. I think that this is a guy again, and he's someone who we know can show up in big moments, and he's had a really good postseason. This is him and Odell. The fact that I think it's kind of says something that they make those moves to get Odell and Von Miller. They're both going into top 8 here in this draft. I mean, it really goes to show the value of adding both of those two guys.
Well, here's the question: do they make the Super Bowl without those two players? Probably not, right?
Probably not. I don't know if they beat San Francisco without Odell last week. They probably still win the other 2 games without both those 2 guys, but I think San Francisco would have been the tough one.
Yeah. So, number 9, who you got?
Number 9, give me T. Higgins. Give me T. Higgins here. T. Higgins is the guy who, again, the logic behind it you get, right? Jamar Chase gets a ton of matchups. He ton of double teams. Jalen Ramsey's on him, which again we don't know that Jalen Ramsey's going to be on Jamar Chase. We're assuming that, but we don't know that. But there's a very real likelihood that T. Higgins, he's kind of a guy who his numbers are basically the same. Zone man, whatever. He's just a really good number 2 option regardless. So, and honestly, he could be a number 1. So him getting that 100+ yard day, again, the question becomes, how does he get it? If Joe Burrow doesn't get it, kind of it could be a tough one, but I can see an avenue where T. Higgins gets it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He was next on my list. Kind of similar to the OBJ thing, where he doesn't have the star power of Odell Beckham, but at the same time, if guys are paying attention to Beckham, or if guys are paying attention to Kupp, Beckham has some opportunities. If guys are paying attention to Chase, which they're going to, he's going to have some opportunities as well. So I completely understand the pick. He was next on my list. I agree.
Yeah. In a world where every fan base says that their favorite wide receiver is underrated, is T. Higgins one of the most underrated wide receivers in football?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think he'd be a number 1 on a lot of teams. So
yeah.
And he's
playing really well these past couple of weeks as well. 103 yards against Kansas City, 96 against Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good. The one thing I've noticed, I noticed it the last game, did he get jacked or something? Like, I swear, he looks like 40 pounds bigger than I remember T. Higgins being. I don't know if I still have an image of T. Higgins from college, but the guy looks a lot bigger than what he used to be. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just losing it.
Perhaps, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they need to do like a weight test at the end of the year and see if guys are getting stronger or not.
Yeah, maybe it's just me. I don't know. He looks bigger this year than I've seen him in the past. But at the same time, I mean, he is still a pretty big guy anyway, so it doesn't change much to it.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I haven't put too much stock into the muscles that T. Higgins has. Maybe I should start. So here we go. Got the images up. This is Clemson T. Higgins. Okay, looks clearly skinny in this image, I would say. And now we have Bengals T. Higgins. I feel a little bit jacked there, a little bit more jacked.
Yeah. He's put some creatine in his body. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it's, probably some protein powder, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
So. Yeah, T. Higgins, good stuff with there. Yeah, I mean, again, T. Higgins will have a very big impact in this game, regardless of whether he wins Super Bowl MVP or not. I think that he could be a big player here.
Yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree. He's a fun receiver to watch, and I think he's perfectly capable of having a big game. We've seen, I think we're kind of just envisioning this matchup, A, because we want it, and B, because it makes sense because of Ramsey's size. But if Ramsey's on Chase, as much as I like Darius Williams, we've seen some bigger receivers attack him too. Like we've seen, like whenever Evans was on Williams, he had a ton of success. So Higgins should have success as well.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, number 10. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go off list a little here. I have this guy. Actually, he's on my list. He's just lower. Going crazy here. Evan Money McPherson, baby.
All
right. Give me the best kicker in football to hit a game-winning 65-yard field goal in this game. send Cincinnati into a frenzy, send all the 12 LA fans home sad, and all of a sudden we're looking at McPherson taking home Super Bowl MVP with that amazing kick. I like McPherson. He's been lights out this postseason. He's been lights out this season as a rookie. And to be true, like if this in the crazy scenario, there's no touchdown scored in this game. I do think that there maybe one day a kicker wins Super Bowl MVP. McPherson's shown that he's been one of the most important Bengals this season.
Yeah. So he was on my list as well. He was number 17 on my list. I accidentally showed it on the screen for a second, the banner. So getting him here at 10. So is the way that he wins it just like they win like 18-17?
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He kicked 6 field goals, and one of them is like a 60-yarder to win.
Yeah.
He has to do something amazing.
I don't think it's crazy. And again, this would be the game for it to happen, I think. Like if the Bengals win and they don't have a great offensive day and it's kind of just this team win, I could see it. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but again, we are at pick number 10 for predicting an award where almost every single time it goes to the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well reach for the stars here and, guess for something crazy. So I like this pick here for McPherson. Got straight money too. I mean, he's one of the best kickers in football.
Yeah, it would be hilarious if like Matt Gay won it and like the kicker who we don't have predicting it.
I know, right? Just how do you feel? Like it's so funny watching these Buccaneers kickers be good outside of Tampa Bay. Like,
yeah, hilarious.
Is Tampa Bay like a tough place to kick? I don't get this.
That was a rumor for a while. I think it became like a mental thing of like once our kickers kept doing so terrible that like it became just like a mental thing of like. It's sort of like being a kicker from Minnesota, where it's just like it's like some of the places where they have reputations of being bad kickers. You get in your own head, and kicking is such a mental sport. I think that's it.
It's possible. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's so Nick Folk, Matt Gay, these guys are money outside of Tampa.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the Roberto Agoyo revenge tour.
Just wait for his comeback, man.
Yeah, exactly. What would have to happen for a kicker to win Super Bowl MVP in a loss? Is it possible? Could it ever happen?
Like a 10-9 game and the guy hits 360+ yarders?
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. Probably won't. I don't think it could. I was thinking a 31-30 game where one team ends every single drive with a field goal.
That works too.
Yeah. All right. I'm going with a pick that I feel good about here at number 11. I figured you were going to take this. Give me Jalen Ramsey here. Again, has the name brand, probably the biggest name left on the board here. It doesn't seem like it's that crazy of a. I can picture a scenario. It's tough. He would need a turnover. I think that as a defender, you almost certainly need like multiple sacks or a turnover to get it. Potentially both. I think that for Jalen Ramsey, if he can get like a turnover. Maybe like a pick 6 or something, and then also holds Jamar Chase to a low day. That's how I think I could see it happening. Again, if it's a defensive game.
Yeah, I had one more guy above this, but it makes perfect sense. He could have a huge game in this one. If Chase has basically his worst game of the season, plus Ramsey gets a pick or maybe, a couple turnovers, then yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of chatter for him to get this award. So that's a big if. But he's plenty capable. He's one of the most talented corners in the league.
Yeah, there is like 7 different things we have to 7 different hoops we have to jump through to get it. But again, that's part of the intrigue of this exercise, and it doesn't seem crazy, especially with this zone coverage scheme. That again, the Rams mix it up. They don't just play one coverage, but that's kind of what they do a lot of, especially last year. What they did a lot of. You can see him maybe taking a chance. He should have had a couple picks in the San Francisco game. Maybe he is due if you believe in that.
Yeah. No, I agree. We did have a lot of Ramsey talk, so I've just about covered it. Do you feel good about it?
Sure. Let's move on. Number 12, where are you going?
All right, I'm going the other defensive side. We need to get some more Bengals involved with this, so I'm going to keep it going. Matthew Stafford has shown the propensity to turn the ball over a few times this season. Not quite his best season, but still I think a good season. Came up with the biggest play of the game in the win over the Chiefs. I'm going Jesse Bates III at the back. Rams take their shots down the field. Bates is going to be back there. You're playing with fire. He's one of the best free safeties in football. Jesse Bates comes up with a couple big plays. wins his team the game that way, prevents the Rams from scoring on a couple drives. That's how Jesse Bates wins the MVP.
Yeah, Jesse Bates. Good odds if you want to get in now. Bet $100 to win $21,000 for Jesse Bates. But like you're right, that's the way you can see it happening. Stafford is especially known to throw interceptions to safeties. I feel like that's kind of where he'll make those mistakes. And especially with the Bengals potentially playing a lot of two safety high coverages, I could see Stafford turning the ball over deep, and I could see Jesse Bates maybe ending up with multiple interceptions and finding a way to win. Is it going to happen? Like, no. But is it something that, for the sake of this exercise, I could see happening? Sure.
Yeah, I'm just talking through the scenario here. I mean, like, safeties don't win Super Bowl MVP. I mean, that's just that's the reality. But then again, a lot of these guys aren't going to win the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, when I was looking up earlier to try to find out if multiple guys had won Super Bowl MVP, which I couldn't figure out. But I'm assuming, or multiple defensive. If a defensive player has won multiple Super Bowl MVPs, I also found out apparently two safeties have won Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, there you go. So they do win Super Bowl.
Will there be three?
Two out of the 50+ times.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that. Yeah, Dexter Jackson for Tampa Bay Buccaneers was one of them.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
did he win that year? Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was Derek Brooks for some reason. What am I living in?
No, he had a big pick. He had the pick six kind of to clinch it at the end, so that was probably it.
Yeah.
The great Jake Scott. Who could forget Jake Scott in Super Bowl VII for the Miami Dolphins, the other safety to get it?
Super Bowl VII, what a great game.
Yeah, oh yeah. Who did the Miami Dolphins beat in Super Bowl VII?
Super Bowl VII? I'm going to guess it was the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, close. Same division. The Washington Redskins were the team that was the Dolphins' undefeated year.
Oh, there you go. The football Commanders.
Yeah, there you go. Also, old football scores are so weird. Like first quarter, Miami 7-0. Second quarter, Miami 7-0. Third quarter, no points. Fourth quarter, Washington 7-0. It's just I don't know, old football. Very fun.
A thrilling football game back then was like 24-21. So
that was that was the equivalent of the Rams Chiefs like Monday night game.
Yeah, honestly. 54-51, 24-21.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on Jesse Bates? I feel like when we get on to Super Bowl VII, I think maybe it's time to move to a next player.
Yeah, we can move on. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Bengals defensive players, but I'm going a different direction. I'm going with a guy who it's easier to rack up stats as a edge rusher. Give me Trey Hendrickson plus 10,000 odds to win Super Bowl MVP. But again, the way he gets it is, maybe a forced fumble here and, another sack, stuff like that. Also, we have a super chat. Brett says, great to finally catch you guys live. Keep up the great videos. Appreciate that, Brett. But yeah, Trey Hendrickson, I think, is a good pick, good value pick here at 13.
Yeah, I had him on my list as well. I mean, you're right, though. Typically if it's a defensive guy, it's a guy who's racking up some sacks and maybe gets a forced fumble strip sack out of the situation too. So I think that makes perfect sense. He's been very good this postseason too. I think he's been very good this regular season. Something that was pretty surprising because I think we were all kind of like, well, we like Hendrickson, but we like Carl Lawson a little more in the offseason. Hendrickson's proven to be just as good, if not, I mean, Lawson got hurt before the season started, but Hendrickson was a Pro Bowler this year, so it makes perfect sense. And he's been very good this year, and I think he could have a big game as well.
Yeah, it was just one of those weird things where everyone kept saying, okay, Trey Hendrickson, he was the classic example of the guy who was going to get a huge contract and then not work out. He was a low pressure guy who randomly got like a lot of sacks in his contract year, but the pressure didn't jump that much, and so everyone's like, okay, we know how this is going. And then no, he got better this year after getting a big payday.
Yeah, we had a couple of those guys too. I felt like Bud Dupree had some moments too, and both of those guys were like, okay, they're kind of benefiting from the guys they're playing around. Hendrickson was better than Dupree too, but at the same time, just it's interesting to see that those guys still had some productive years.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. Where are you going? Number 14.
All right, number 14. I'll go Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee, good tight end for the Rams, obviously. And he's used a lot in some, pass catching situations. He's used in a lot of situations, third down scenarios, late game. And they kind of use him in some fucking situations to try and get him in some space, especially when those receivers get so much attention. Tyler Higbee's a guy that I think could have a sneaky big game for this team.
Are you worried at all that he might not play?
I was thinking that because I had both the tight ends on my list. Like, okay, I know that they both might not play, but at the same time, like, I'll just play the odds at this point and say, let's see what happens.
Yeah. As you can tell with my banner, I don't have the odds up because I did not have him on my list. I get the logic. The idea is, hey, if he does, he's questionable. We don't know if he's going to play. But if he does, like, the tight end position for the Rams will probably have a key role in this game. Now, the question is, which tight end is that going to be? But if it ends up being Tyler Higbee, I can see him being able to rack up some numbers here.
Yeah, because it's like what I feel like both him and Uzomah, whatever. We're never going to get this right.
I don't know. Can't forget CJ.
Both of those guys are questionable, but I feel like both of them can have huge impact if they play. They're both very important for their offenses. The question is they're going to play. So I kept them both on my list just because I wasn't sure. And I figured, maybe I'll get one of them at, bottom of the list and I'll say, hey, that's good odds.
Yeah, listen, we're 14 picks in to a Super Bowl MVP list. All right, like you got to take some chances here.
And I'm taking a big chance.
Yes, but if he does play again, like we said, tight end position probably will have some importance here. Let's move on. I'm going to kind of go to basically same logic as last time. Give me Sam Hubbard. Basically the same logic as Trey Hendrickson, just with their other good edge rusher.
Yeah, no, I mean I get it. Kind of the same thing like you said. Obviously, less star power. That's the big reason why he's going lower. But another good defensive end who I think could have an impact.
Yeah. Want to move on, or do you want to talk more about Sam Hubbard?
I mean, I don't have any other Sam Hubbard points to put on my list.
I guess is Sam Hubbard one of the more underrated players heading into the Super Bowl? Because he is a good edge rusher, but like Trey Hendrickson kind of gets all the credit. Sam Hubbard was the one who finally got the Mahomes to knock the ball out at the end of regulation in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean he's a good defensive end. I mean, he is very good. Obviously, the problem is that he's got two defensive linemen who I think are kind of among the best at their position, so I think that catches the attention. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's very good.
Yeah. Also, chat helping us out with the what is the CJ pronunciation? With one person saying Uzomah and another person saying Uzomah. So still lost.
Yeah, we're never gonna get it. It's okay.
Yes, exactly. Let's move on. Number 16. Where are you going?
Same logic. I had him next on my list. I had him above Hubbard. Leonard Floyd.
Yeah. No, this is the good one. Leonard Floyd plus 20,000 to win it. So again, might not be the worst bet in the world. Put $10 on it.
Yeah, you're probably just giving away $10.
Okay, so you're not a fan of the. Hey, but if you're right though,
if you're right, that's crazy.
Well, the logic with a Leonard Floyd is he does have a bit of a name, not quite the same as some of these other guys for the Rams. But if Von Miller and Aaron Donald get all the attention, Leonard Floyd's still a really good pass rusher in his own right. Could he get a couple of sacks? Could he get the forced fumble to get him the MVP?
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at too. So, I mean, it's the logic of all these edge rushers, basically. Could they get a couple big plays and change kind of this game completely? They're all capable of doing it. There's a bunch of really good edge rushers, I think, in this game. It's just going to be like, who is the guy? And I'm going to go with the stars first before I go down the list, and Floyd's next on my list.
Yeah, no, it completely makes sense. I get the logic with the Leonard Floyd of it all as well. I guess I'll go again. Well, yeah, obviously I'll go again there. I'll move on now and give me this guy. I had him very low on this list, but I mean, this good value pick here. Give me Cam Akers here, getting a starting running back at number 17. I feel like you can't lose there. The issue is like, okay, A, is he still a starting running back? Well, he hasn't looked spectacular since coming back from the injury. And the other aspect is like, okay, what's the scenario where Rams really run the ball and find a way to win. But I actually think it's possible. I think this is a good value pick here at 17 because I do think that if the Bengals are playing a lot of cover 2 zone, Sean McVay loves to establish the run. I can see him getting the touches. I just don't know if he's the player to actually, take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen it in the playoffs, but at the same time, there's still a ton of talent here. And he's still capable of breaking a couple of big plays. I don't know how much success he's going to have on DJ Reader. That's the reason why I'm staying away from Rams running backs. But I still feel like he's got the talent to make an impact in this game. And he's, used in the passing game too.
Yeah. And one interesting thing about the way that the Rams have kind of struggled running the football this season is that, if you take out garbage time running stats, the Rams are 29th in running the football in terms of EPA, which is fascinating. And a big part of it is kind of like Sean McVay loves to use his wide receivers basically as tight ends, like that he kind of just has his wide receivers block. And that works when it's Robert Woods. Doesn't work as well when it's Odell. And like in the NFC Championship game, I brought this up a couple times in some of my videos. He had Odell Beckham Jr. blocking Nick Bosa one-on-one. It went about as well as you would expect that to go. It's like, hey, maybe cut that stuff out, Sean McVay. Maybe I know your tight ends are banged up, but maybe just have your receivers stay out wide then.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. But at the same time, Kupp's also a good blocker, so I'm okay with it sometimes too.
Sure, but that's kind of the biggest area of weakness for the Rams in the running game. Let's move on. 18. So you got 2 picks left. I only have 1 pick left. Where are you going?
Okay, you mentioned star power in the beginning. Star power works. What is there a bigger star power than the man in the stars and stripes? That's Chris Evans, the kick returner for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Captain America here. Couple kick returns, has something crazy happen, then all of a sudden, boom, Super Bowl MVP. There's my logic.
Okay. Sure. I get it. So you're really racking up the special teams aspect of this selection of this draft.
I'm trying to hit a little bit of everything. It's like online dating. You just throw your name out there a bunch of times, see what happens.
Yeah. I think the good logic there. Listen. There has been a kick returner to win a Super Bowl MVP. It can happen. It's not likely to happen, but what is likely to happen this far down the list? I understand the logic. Let's have a Zaza with a super sticker in the chat.
Julio.
We appreciate that. Thank you for that. But I don't hate Captain America here.
There you go.
I watched Sunshine the other day. Have you seen Sunshine?
No, what's that?
Oh, it's a good movie. It has Chris Evans in it. It's basically the idea is you have to the sun is dying and they're trying to put a nuke in the sun. So it's kind of like a weird concept, but it's just kind of a cool concept of trying to get to the sun. It's a good movie. Recommend it.
Huh. Maybe I'll have to give it a watch sometimes. I watched what did I watch the other day? The Art of Racing in the Rain.
Yeah.
I cried a lot.
Okay.
Apparently. Do you know what this movie is?
No.
It's a guy who's a race car driver, and he gets a dog when he's young, and this dog grows up to love racing with him, and the dog dies.
Win a big race? Oh, okay. So
dog dies.
Interesting.
By the way, at the end.
Okay.
It's very sad.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, it's been out a few years, so.
All right. Let's move on. Let's go to number 19 here. Feel good about this cap off the draft. Give me Van Jefferson. Again, same logic with the Odell. Third option here. Feel better about this than picking a tight end who might not play. I like Van Jefferson here with the 19th pick.
Yeah, he was on my list. I picked some other guys just to have some fun with it. But yeah, if Cooper Kupp gets a lot of attention, Odell Beckham isn't open a whole lot. Van Jefferson's the next guy on the list who say, okay, he is another guy who I think he's a good receiver. He's a good receiver for a number 3 guy. I like him and Tyler Boyd. So yeah, I think it makes perfectly good sense.
Yeah, I agree. All right, number 20, capping off the draft. Where are you going?
I could pick Tyler Boyd here just for the same logic, but it's a lot funnier to pick Eli Apple, so I'm picking Eli Apple.
What's the okay? How does Eli Apple win Super Bowl MVP?
Okay, here's the logic. He's going to get plenty of targets.
Sure. Okay, that's a good. Actually, yeah, that makes sense. Now that I think about it, yeah, good
The
logic.
Rams are going to throw at Eli Apple. Guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
If he rises to the occasion, makes a couple of big plays, I got Eli Apple winning Super Bowl MVP with the last pick, mainly just because it's funny. But he's going to get plenty of targets, like I said.
Yeah, he's the last pick. Could he get the last pick in the NFL season? Maybe like a pick six in overtime?
Wouldn't that be wild?
Mm-hmm. What a redemption arc that would be.
Yeah. He'd be going crazy on Twitter after the game if that happened.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I googled or I searched Eli Apple on Twitter and nothing came up, and I was like, all right, well, this is. I tried to do research, didn't work out.
Yeah, he like said something to like Tyreek Hill after
Okay.
like getting killed the whole game. He had like one play.
I saw that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, so I got a number 20. It's okay.
All right, Eli Apple, the number 20 picks. Couple guys to mention that we did not get into in the draft. I had Sony Michel, Tyler Boyd, and those two, and I'll get my third in a second. But Sony Michel and Tyler Boyd, kind of again similar logic to what we talked about. Boyd, again, just a third option who could potentially get some targets. I think he will get some targets in this one. Actually, wouldn't it be wild if we somehow didn't pick the Super Bowl MVP in this one? Also, again, Sony Michel, similar to the Cam Akers stuff. Sony Michel has been a Super Bowl hero before, Kyle.
Yes. He's been very good in the Super Bowl. He was good in that playoff run, honestly. So I think that makes sense. Outside of that, yeah, I mean, you could go with the other two guys in the Bengals secondary, Von Bell, Chidobe Awuzie. Mike Hilton, too, is the slot guy. You could throw Tyler Boyd in there. Like I said, you could throw Uzomah if he's able to play. You mentioned Rams tight ends. You could throw Kendall Blanton in there. I mean, there's a few other guys, but I'm willing to bet that it's going to end up in our top two.
Yeah, probably. I had Von Bell as my number 20. That was the other guy. Basically, because my logic is like, if it's true that we see a lot of wide receivers trying to block, he could be someone who could blow up some of this stuff. But the flip side is like, okay, is Von Bell really going to win Super Bowl MVP because of his great run stopping? Like, probably not. So that's why he was number 20. But yeah, I think again, fun exercise just to kind of see where we're at in terms of some of these top players.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's
And Eli
fun
Apple.
stuff. And 19 guys in Eli Apple just because it's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Excited for this game. I need to really dig into this matchup a little bit more.
Yeah, should be fun. Yeah, we will be doing on Wednesday at 9 our full recap, but we have a few minutes left here in this one. Kyle, okay, over under sitting at 2.5 minutes. How much Pro Bowl did you watch? Everyone comment in the chat. Do you think over or under the 2.5 minutes of the Pro Bowl? Give them a second with this incredible evening of football. Kyle, how many minutes of the Pro Bowl did you watch?
Did you are we including the skills challenge game or just
just the Pro Bowl itself?
Okay. I guess I should give people a couple minutes.
Well, that's a trivia question. Let's start with the skills challenge then. Did you watch any of that?
I did. I actually decided to sit down and watch some of it. There were some bad NBA games on at the time, so I flipped over.
Okay.
Skills challenge was interesting. I gotta say, some of the stuff was a little goofy. Surprising.
Sure.
It's not surprising that like 18 really competitive dudes out there turned dodgeball into just a shouting match at the ref. Like if anybody's watched like a basketball game, that's basically what happened. That being said, there are some moments there. The receiving challenge thing, best catch thing was, I think the concept was better than the execution, but I still think it was solid.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah, the one I actually liked was the quarterback thing they've been doing forever. It's always pretty good. The one I actually liked was the thread the needle thing.
Yeah, that's fun too.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting to see that the kind of strategies to that. That's a really hard for the corners though. So to answer your question though, it is under 2.5 minutes. I ended up turning on the highlights just to see if anything interesting happened. The only thing I saw on like social media or anything like that through this Pro Bowl was Mac Jones getting stopped on a running play and running to the end zone anyways to do a dance in the end zone. That was the only thing I saw.
Yeah, wild stuff. Yeah, the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge I thought was fun. The one weird thing I didn't think, like, I don't know if we did a 40-yard dash as a challenge. I don't know what the logic was there. Tyreek Hill clearly didn't care whatsoever about it. Or I kind of wonder if he just got off to a bad start and then just like gave up. But like it was over like 2 seconds and went back to commercial. It's like, what are we doing here? I thought the 40-yard dash could have maybe worked if you like actually like staggered them out and had them go one at a time. That was a weird one. But as a whole, the skills challenge, it's supposed to be fun. I thought it, I thought it nailed that. Stephon Diggs jumping through a table. It's fun.
The best way to do this, and I've mentioned this before, I think, what they should do is they should do 49 Pro Bowlers and do 7-on-7 teams. They draft 7-on-7 teams. And basically, like, quarterbacks have to play both ways. Everybody has to play both ways. Because, like, I watch these highlights, and it's like I feel bad for anybody who bought a ticket to the Pro Bowl. Like, it's like it's a glorified walkthrough.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it would work with 7 teams, but I like where your mind is at. I think the 7-on-7 football definitely makes sense. I'll say this: I've gone to the Pro Bowl a couple times, and I've always enjoyed it. I think it's maybe kind of a fun experience to go there, partially because all these big moments happen, and that's kind of when you're at a game, you kind of want to, a reason to cheer and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, this was. I don't remember it being this bad, Kyle. And again, it's been a while since I've watched a Pro Bowl on TV because there was none last year, and then the previous 2 years they were in Orlando, and I went there, so it had been a minute. But like, I mean, it was like borderline unwatchable at a certain point because of the. I don't need these guys to try. I get it. You don't want to risk injury. I don't think you should. But like, just put flags on them. Like, what are we doing with this weird like one toe in, the rest of your body out? Like just put flags on them. Yeah,
I mean, it was literally walkthrough style, touching him down. I would just do flags. The lineman can do like a, some random stuff like in the skills challenge stuff, and just do 7-on-7 teams, I think, and just go from there.
Yeah, I'm completely on board. The drafting of that would probably be just as fun as the game itself. I think you can add an extra event. The NFL would love to do that, and it'd be fun to see offensive linemen running routes and stuff. I'm all for it.
You can honestly do like 8 quarterbacks because like 8 quarterbacks make the Pro Bowl anyway, and then just let the 8 quarterbacks draft their teams and do 8 teams of 7. And then you get to see like guys. First of all, like you said, the order of the draft and who gets picked is hilarious, and then like the guy who gets like paired with Kirk Cousins being upset is also hilarious.
Sure.
So there's just going both ways with that. It's just hilarious to me.
Yeah, whoever ends up with like the Tyrod Taylor or whatever, the Mitchell Trubisky, whoever ends up there. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's fun for the fans, I guess, but always kind of interesting.
Yeah, and here's the one thing I'll say too. It's like, a lot of people were kind of saying like, why even have the Pro Bowl at this point? They need to do something. Like literally, it being 2-hand touch it'd be cool to have a Pro Bowl worth watching. I think it's kind of where we view this stuff, and that's why we want to see it be a little bit different. I also think that like at the end of the day, though, it's like, I'd rather the Pro Bowl exist than not exist. Like I don't want to just get rid of it.
Well, the thing is that every All-Star game kind of sucks. Like that's just something we don't talk about. It's like every one of them stink. NBA has a real problem with it, although their whole weekend setup makes it a little more interesting because it's middle of the season, still generates some excitement. Obviously, you got 3-point slam dunk, that kind of stuff. MLB is kind of the only one that matters, but even then, it kind of like doesn't. So at the same time, they're all kind of goofy.
Yeah, the baseball, it's for like baseball works the best just because like you can play it and not risk injury. But yeah, the hockey one's kind of weird. But at least with the other sports, I guess they're weird and not that interesting, but still kind of worth a watch. Like there's no competitive nature to the Pro Bowl whatsoever. I tweeted out my fix for the Pro Bowl was if you score a touchdown, you get to go home. That's the fix for the Pro Bowl. You score a touchdown, you're allowed to leave.
They would just go to, I think having it in Vegas is an appeal for players. So like I didn't expect any of those Chiefs guys to show up.
Yeah.
and they were basically all there. That's the other fun part about this too. I was looking at is like seeing some of the guys who end up making the Pro Bowl as alternates. Like Frank Clark's running around there, and I'm like, what is Frank Clark doing? The Chiefs will
Right.
get rid of Frank Clark in a heartbeat, and he's in the
Uh-huh.
Pro Bowl game. It was just hilarious to see that.
Yeah. Also, did you know, like, the AFC's won like 5 years in a row? Like, I would not have guessed that whatsoever. Like, I was even thinking, like, today, it's like I can't remember. I've been to multiple Pro Bowls, and I can't remember who has won any Pro Bowl ever.
Yeah, I would have no idea. The only one I remember, like vaguely, is the one where Matt Schaub was Pro Bowl MVP.
Right, remember that. Remember, I think Jameis Winston was Pro Bowl MVP too one year as well, which was fun. Yeah, interesting. I mean, the appeal of the Pro Bowl, right? What you watch it for is to see your players do something good. You watch it to see Mac Jones go out there and scramble for 80 yards after being touched. I watch it to see Mike Evans and Antoine Winfield gets the pick six, all that fun stuff. That's why
Mac
you watch
Jones
it.
throwing a touchdown to future Patriot Hunter Renfrow. That was cool.
Yeah, there you go. So, it is what it is. I didn't expect much from the Pro Bowl, and I was still disappointed, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's fun, kind of. But, I think people do enjoy it. I think the players enjoy it a little bit more because they get to go and relax. I think the interesting thing is you see some of the personalities of these guys. Talking about Mac Jones too. You saw a lot of personality in Mac Jones this weekend, and I thought that was pretty fun for an organization who doesn't show a lot of personality to see that from their quarterback.
Yeah. How about this for an idea, Kyle? What about mic up the quarterbacks?
Mic up the whole team.
Well, you can do that as well. But I mean, like, maybe even put it on ESPN2 or whatever, and just have the quarterbacks mic'd up, and you're just hearing what they're saying. And maybe you can have
go ahead. No,
okay. I was just going to say, maybe you could also have just a former quarterback or whatever who's also in the booth, kind of who will just sort of explain, like, okay, so that what he means by that is blah blah blah.
Or have him mic'd up with the broadcasters, and he can talk to the broadcasters during the game.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it's not like he's really avoiding a pass rush.
Right. Yeah. Like the baseball has done that a bit where they have guys mic'd up. Yeah, I like that.
I think the biggest thing the NFL dropped the ball on this year was the Stephon Diggs-Trevon Diggs thing. They could have had them both mic'd up the whole time, just talking to each other. They could have had them do things like arm wrestle each other during the skills challenge. They could have had them like, I don't know. I feel like there's a whole lot of things they could do. And then one of the things they also have to add to the skills challenge is 1v1s with cornerbacks and receivers. But that's just me.
Yeah. I thought that, Kirk Cousins with the all-time blunder of you have Stephon Diggs, you have Trayvon Diggs covering Stephon Diggs, and he doesn't throw it their way. I mean, what are you doing here, Kirk Cousins?
Are we surprised?
I guess not. I suppose Kirk Cousins maybe had a bad weekend. He also did not perform too well in the threatened competition.
I mean, if they wanted someone to throw to the cornerback, they could have put Patrick Mahomes on the field.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes shot here. Yeah, a lot of interceptions in it. Also, the Pro Bowl, one of the hilarious things they did too was they did this like 4th and 5. You get possession, but you start at the 4th and 15, right? And the obvious logic is this way where you're going to punt it almost every time, but this way no onside kicks. We do it this way, and we don't have to do kickoffs either because a lot of these guys aren't kickoff guys. But instead, they just did like. Oh no, we're all going to go for it every 4th and 15, which was just like the weirdest. Like that's clearly not how they intended that to work.
Well, they wanted people to have fun, I guess.
I suppose so. I think that a good TV product is when the people who are a part of it are the only ones enjoying it.
Exactly. Yeah. all the players probably had fun.
Yeah. I think simple fix. I like what you did about the 7-on-7, but even if you don't want to do that, put flags on them and mic up the quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, and get rid of the helmets and pads too.
Yeah, just let them walk around in like t-shirts and shorts.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can still wear like a jersey, but just like, but yeah,
just Pro Bowl tanks out.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's
cold in Vegas.
Yeah, might be. All right. Well, yeah. We could talk about the coaching hires if you want to. Do you want to touch on those at all?
Yeah, we could touch on them.
So the two new ones, obviously the Mike McDaniel that hired happened today, and Doug Peterson also has happened. since the news last broke. I like the Mike McDaniel one a lot. That's my take on it. I think that I like that coaching tree. Get someone from under Shanahan. That makes sense. He has very good press conferences, so big fan of that. And Doug Peterson, like, is he the guy I would have picked? No, but he's won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. So there's worse guys to have at the helm, and he also, Carson Wentz played well under him. I know Frank Reich kind of gets all the credit for that, but I still think that there's some real value in having a guy who, at least when he says something, you can sit here and say, you can respect him because he has reached the top of the mountain before. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's a little underrated how bad that team got in Philly by the end of his tenure.
Yeah.
I think he made mistakes. I mean, he's not, resolved. He's not absolved of any blame from it. But at the same time, we'll see what happens. That's a tough situation, but we'll see how it goes. I think they wanted an adult in the room, someone with some experience too. So I guess that kind of makes sense. At the end of the day, we don't know if any of these are going to work. But yeah, I don't know if Peterson's going to work, but I get the logic behind the hire, even if it's not my first choice. Just like if Mike McDaniels, I get the logic. I think by the time that they were in the coaching carousel, I think he's probably the guy I would have gone with. I think it makes sense, and I get the logic to the hire. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, it is a little bit funny that the one minority head coach is Mike McDaniel. That's been hired so far.
After that Deadspin piece?
Yeah, at the Deadspin piece. A little bit funny. But yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles, last time Doug Peterson was there, I mean, their receiving core was the worst graded in football. It's like no offensive coordinator is going to look good in that situation.
Yeah. There's one I'm willing to say is not going to work out if he gets a head coaching job. And that's with the latest talk of Lovie Smith potentially being head coach of the Houston Texans. That's going to be a problem. I'm not going to like that hire a whole lot.
Yeah, how could you justify Lovie Smith over like Brian Flores?
You can't.
Right.
I'd even say Josh McCown. I don't even know if Josh McCown's a good head coach. I don't even know if he's a good coach. But I'll take Josh McCown over Lovie Smith. Like, I guarantee you when we do our coaching rankings, if Lovie Smith's the head coach of the Texans, he's 32nd on my list. I'll say it now. Breaking news. Lovie Smith would be 32nd on my best head coaches in football's list if he's hired by the Texans.
Okay, not a big fan. Lovie Smith, also a guy who, in his second to last year with Tampa Bay, had some questionable coaching decisions, we'll say that, to make sure they got the first overall pick. I guess one final news thing, Alvin Kamara did get arrested on a battery charge, which is, again, a little bit funny that someone got arrested on a battery charge after the Pro Bowl where there was literally no physicality whatsoever.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I saw this right before we came on, kind of crazy. We'll see what happens. Not a lot of information on it right now.
I just had to joke. I have nothing else to add to it.
Yeah, I don't really either, but that is fun.
All right. Again, if you want to hear more of my C- jokes, tune in Wednesday, 9:00, where we will be talking about every little aspect of the Super Bowl we can think about, giving our predictions. Kyle, if the ball's in my court, if I predict the Super Bowl right, I'm the champion. If not, you're the champion.
I still feel pretty good about it. I think you could choke. I think you got a good chance of choking here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So,
but hey, I was in this spot last year and I pulled it off.
Yes. We'll see what happens. We'll see if you can get it twice.
Yeah. It's tough. I'm undecided.
You're undecided?
I'm an undecided voter.
Well, we'll talk about it Wednesday.
Yep.
It's a nice plug. We'll see how it plays out.
Speaking of plugs, let them know where they can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin. And make sure they follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That's at On the Sideline JK.
Yeah, one of these days you're going to nail that finger point first try. Thanks to everyone for watching or listening. We do have the audio only feed anywhere you get your podcast. You can check that out. If you found us on the audio only feed, you can check out the YouTube channel, Jackson Kruger Sports. It's fun. Kyle, any final thoughts before our second to last a week from today? we will be breaking down Super Bowl 56.
Can't wait. One more
Mhm.
week. We'll see what happens going forward. Plenty of stuff to talk about up until then.
Yeah, it should be fun. Thanks to everyone. Again, we do appreciate it. And of course, until next time, see you later, alligator. And I hate alligator too. That's kind of tough. Bookends.
Peace.